Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Thursday Night with Xander Wild. Or I'm sure there's a better name for it. Let us know, please. We want a better name. Thank you very much for. All right. Thank you very much for joining us here today. So what we've tried to do is set up some speakers down here so you can hopefully hear us a little bit better should it get louder in the other room. So that was a piece of feedback that we got from last time. So hopefully this sounds a little bit better. Do let us know if it's working. Otherwise, we'll keep on we're continually looking to improve this. So do let us know. Anyway, very much like to welcome to our fireside chat this month, Daniel Warren.
Hello.
So we met Daniel at, I think it was Coastal was actually the first time that we met, wasn't it?
I think it was Coastal. Yeah, Ben's networking group.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and obviously you're always one of the first people, because you sit next to Ben, you're always one of the first people to give your 60 seconds and everything like that. So we got to find out about you pretty early on.
Yeah.
So
or one of the last.
Or one of the last. Yeah, it depends which side of him you sat on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, a little bit about yourself, and what is it you do now and how you came to do it?
My company's Free Range Web. I make websites, funnily enough. But how I got into that is probably a bit via like a very convoluted path that I'm going to have to skim over, probably, to not take up too much of it. But yeah, basically I started working for the previous owner of the company as a consultant with e-commerce, because I had an e-commerce business, and ended up taking on more of the project management and then building the websites and kind of ending up doing everything. And through a series of misadventures, bought him out. Pretty much. That's how I ended up as Free Range Web. So it wasn't my company originally. But yeah, that's. Is that clear enough? I don't. I'm trying to avoid going into too much detail.
We still got another 29 and a half minutes, so you're welcome to go a little bit more. So.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
What is it that made you want to do all of that, though? I mean, you could have just been a consultant forever, but you wanted to do a little bit more.
Yeah, I just enjoy. I mean, like websites are something I've tinkered around with non-professionally for a long time. I think the first one I made was for a university, like Media Matters project that we did, where we were sort of, we wanted to get all of the arts campus working together because I was doing creative writing and then there were other people. So we set up a sort of creative writing magazine called The Red Kite, and getting submissions in. That was all WordPress, and so I've set up PHPBB forums and stuff like that. So it was all kind of tinkering around, and then in a roundabout way, getting into Free Range Web, I just ended up doing the sites myself because I just quite enjoyed it, really.
How did the name Free Range Web, why is it called that?
I think the idea was because Free Range Web was originally, and when I joined it, an SEO company first, and that incidentally did web development. I've sort of flipped that. It's now the focus is web development with SEO education in mind. But yeah, and I think the idea is you've got organic results, free range, kind of organic. I'm speculating because I wasn't there at the formation of what it was, but I think that's why.
But it all kind of like ties in there, so you know, it's at least. It's almost like life-imitating art, effectively, in that point. So it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool, actually. We were lazy. We just named it after the river that we live next to. So.
Is there a river called Axe?
Yes, the
That's
river
quite
Axe.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had no idea what we were going to call ourselves. We went through a few different, like, kind of weird names, to be honest, because for a multitude of reasons. But then Ryan just sent me a message and just said, it's like, hey, why not River Axe Media? I was like, oh, so cool, let's just steal a local location. So.
It gives you the idea for the logo straight away as well. You've got the river. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So you said something there. You said 3 letters, which I've heard thrown around a lot, and I don't know if this is the same for many other people, but for me in particular, SEO, Search Engine Optimization. Oh, we've got to get this done for SEO, we've got to maximize SEO. What does that mean, and how does it work?
So, I'll preface this with my opinion on it first, and then I'll give you a breakdown of what it means. But I think if you are sort of thinking about marketing more broadly, you get SEO for free, in a way. I'll explain why. But so yeah, just like a crash course on what SEO is, and the stages you want to go through. You start with doing some market research. We do something called a keyword report. But basically what you're doing is you're looking at what people are searching for around your industry. So it could be, for you, it would be like video production, Bristol, or business video production, or da-da-da. You find these terms. You want to work out what people are searching for more commonly, what gets more searches, but also what is more competitive. Because if something's super competitive and it's all FTSE 100 companies on the first page, doesn't matter if it gets 100,000 searches a month, you're not getting any of them, So you want to find the low-hanging fruit in that respect, get all that in a nice spreadsheet, search it from sort of best to worst, and then from that, you can plan out a site map, like a sort of map of what your site structure should be. So basically any good search term can be a page, and you want to kind of, itemize that however you can around your services, like the best way to talk about them, the best way to phrase what those services are. Have a page dedicated to each of those, because that's always going to take priority over a page that's kind of wishy-washily about everything you do. Right. If it's a page about business video production, and that's what they're searching for, and that's all the page is about, that's going to take priority over, we do business video production, and we'll wash your windows, and we'll lend you a van, and we'll so you plan your site around that, and then for longer tail ones, how much does video production cost? What is the best way to market yourself through video as a small business? You could plan out a content plan for blogs or articles, or things that you can write or produce social media posts around. And that's the sort of on-page side of it. Optimizing the pages, you'll hear a lot of people talk about that, and you need 3% keyword density, and you need to follow all these rules. They don't really matter that much. What it really boils down to is just making sure that the subject of each page is clear. Right. So if you are making a page on, business video production, it would be a smart idea to have that in the title, and mentioned a couple of times throughout the thing. So it's just make it clear, this is the subject, this is what we're talking about, this is the thing we're addressing. It's not about keyword stuffing. That's the on-page stuff, and then the sort of extra website stuff is going out and then building links back to you. So that can involve mining your competitors to see who's linking to them, so that you can kind of copy it. Basically, they're part of this accreditation group, we should be part of that group, because that's obviously serving them well. And when I say competitors, people doing well on those search terms, not necessarily just anyone doing videography. People doing well on the search terms you want to do well on. Copying things that seem to work well for them, sponsorships, that kind of stuff. Also just producing content, and like the traditional kind of spammy way, emailing loads and loads of blogs saying, can I publish an article on your site that links back to ours? And that's like the conventional thing. But that's the link building, the on-page stuff, that's it in a nutshell. Okay. And the idea with the backlinks, just to clarify that, is Google kind of just wants to know, are you who you claim you are? Are you an authority on this subject? Because I could go and make a website this evening for a videographer that doesn't exist, that I just made up, and put it live on the website, on the internet. Doesn't mean there's a real company there. So in a way, the best stuff that you're going to get are things that only you can get, not that you could pay me to get for you. I can list you in yellow pages, but only you can get those links that are going to give you that real authority that prove that you are a business.
Okay. So it does actually tie in with actually, having a sense of authenticity, but actually existing, actually doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than just like the old, I don't know if this was actually a thing, but I heard a rumor that people used to put a load of white text on white background just so that they got That was a thing, was it?
That was a thing.
I thought that was a joke.
That was a thing.
Oh my God.
That was a thing.
Did it
like
work?
in the early. I mean, I think it worked in like the late '90s and early
Right.
2000s. I think it's a lot cleverer than that now. I think you know how smart it is now because of AI. Everyone's sort of aware of how this technology works. You post an article or a page into ChatGPT and ask it to summarize what it's about. It knows what it's about. It can summarize it. You know, I think all of these there are quite a few little rules of you've got to mention the keyword twice in the opening paragraph. You've got to have a keyword density of blah. You've got to a lot of that, I think, is sort of industry spin, because like Google has had this kind of technology, maybe not anthropomorphized in the way that ChatGPT is, for decades, and it can tell what the page is about and whether it's talking about it with authority, and it's not going by these really specific rules you have to follow. Which is why I kind of just say, just make sure it's clear. Just make sure it's clear and that it is about that, and you know. But going back to the original point, all of those things that I've said fall under the umbrella of SEO.
Yeah.
If you're just looking at marketing yourself and promoting yourself, you should be doing all of these things anyway, like incidentally. Like you want to do some market research because you want to find out how your customers are talking about your service so that you can then talk to them in that language, not in, like, I mean, yours is quite a technical field, like mine is. You know, it's important for me to know how people talk about web development who don't understand it.
Yeah.
So I can talk to them without coming across like Moss from the IT crowd. Do you know what I mean? It's you want to do that research anyway, even if Google, even if Google didn't exist. You
seem very passionate about this. It's like, hang on, let's just...
Right.
I think we're okay.
But like, even if Google didn't exist, you should be doing that anyway, surely. That's something you want to do. You want to make the content clear on your website and straightforward so that the people going on there reading it get the point and can understand it. Not to game an algorithm. You want to have ongoing articles, if you can, to provide information to your clients, existing and potential.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that they kind of know that they're working with someone who knows what they're talking about.
So like having your own blogs and everything like that on your own website is going to be very beneficial. That's interesting, because you actually wrote a blog first, didn't you?
I did.
Excellent. We'll come back to that later, though. That's not this part of the conversation. It is coming. You're coming back. That would have been a perfect segue.
But you, my point, and if you are active and networking and going out and doing, you'll get people linking to you.
Yep.
And those are the valuable links, not me going off and listing you in 900 directories all over the world. That's spam, you know. Like, all of these things, if you're kind of obsessing over gaming an algorithm, I think takes you down a bit of a cul-de-sac, and really you can just think about marketing more broadly and going out and doing sales directly and talking to people and marketing more broadly. You'll get all of that anyway. If you go on my website, I don't list SEO as a service on there or anything, and people will ask me, do you do SEO? And I'll sort of go, well, I do all of the bits of SEO,
Right.
but I don't do an SEO package where you just pay me £1,000 a month and I'll just go away and do things mysteriously. And because I just find that a bit like people who know me, I've used this analogy to the point of exhaustion, and they'll be rolling their eyes at it. But the way I think of it is, it's like if you're a tradesperson, you can do a number of different things. You can re-render someone's property. You could redo their driveway. You could give them a loft extension. You can do X, Y, and Z, and sort of marketing that as, I'm a property value improvement specialist.
Yeah.
Give me £15,000 a month, and I will just tinker with your house at my discretion. Like, it's a bit of a wrong-footed, unaccountable way of packaging things. So I've always been a bit uneasy with it. So it's like I can produce blogs for people, usually by subcontracting to someone like Tim or an actual copywriter, I can organize these things for the sake of the greater point of having good content on your website, not for the sake of gaming Google. Because, I mean, there's one thing at the end of the day, they're kind of, I don't know if anyone's noticed or agrees, they're kind of going downhill a bit in terms of the quality of the results. Has anyone else seen that? Like, first of all, there aren't results until you get right down to the bottom. You've got AI, like, telling you to eat rocks and put super glue in your lasagna for that much. Then you get loads of paid results, and then you get one or two crumbs of organic results right at the bottom. And they're quite poor compared to what they used to be. You used to get information. Now it's just the people who spend $100,000 a month on SEO. So it's kind of turning into a bit of a dive. If you want to get information now, you have to stick the word Reddit on the end of any search. Do you know what I mean?
And there is your actionable tip for it. No, it's fine.
But I mean, I think because SEO's been such a big industry for such a long time, it's given people, I think, a slightly monochromatic, wrong-footed way of thinking of what websites are useful for, which is this assumption that they're right at the front of your sales funnel and they're there acting as a 24/7 salesperson, dragging in strangers, when they're much more useful, especially as a small business, when people have already met you in an event like this, or they're looking into you after the fact and they want validation that you are the business and you know what you're talking about, you know what I mean? And that's really where they've been useful all along, I think. But yeah.
I think you've set up a lot of upcoming points in this conversation really well there, so I'm going to do them in order if that's okay.
Okay.
That's absolutely fascinating because I never fully understood all the intricacies of SEO and what that actually meant. You know, as I said before, I thought it was just pumping in the words which people search for. So that demystifies it, which is obviously digital demystify. You clarify these things for people.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So there we go. So that's fantastic. But you used a particular term just now, which was optimizing your websites. So can we have a look at an example where you have optimized somebody's website?
Sure. Yeah.
And here's one I prepared earlier. So I chose this one because it was the one with the cutest picture. Let's have a look and see what it looks like.
She's a dog groomer in Portishead.
If you want to,
sure.
Where you are.
So you can see you've kind of, we're like, the key thing we're trying to do is just keep it very clear. I wonder what they do, like it's pretty black and white, literally. And then you've got just a breakdown of the different services on this page here. So we've got dog grooming, cat grooming, grooming for puppies. So we've just sort of...
The cat's got sunglasses.
Yeah. No, like there's more to it than that. So this is what I mean by this is... So
that's brilliant timing. That's absolutely brilliant.
Perfect. We're trying to make it really straightforward in terms of what the content is about. It's very clear, but this is not so that or just so that an algorithm picks up on this. We're not keyword stuffing. We're making it for the people reading it. So down here we've got Google's not going to be impressed by this at all. But I've got a little testimonial from Marmalade, known cool cat in Portishead. Just and then
it's a very sleek website. Like the first thing when looking at that, it's very sleek.
The secret to that is keeping it really, really simple. As any sort of graphic designer would tell you, Ben would tell you, it's just not overcomplicating things. Keep it basic. And then on the dog grooming, we've got one as well. I believe, I've got a sort of studious golden retriever, giving them praise, and it's just for a bit of fun. So it's very straightforward, not trying to be flashy, and it's aimed at people who want to have their dogs groomed, not at Google. But by doing that,
So you're
kind of
you're optimizing it.
incidentally.
You're optimizing it not for Google so much. You're optimizing it for the user, for the clients, for
Yeah.
the.
Yeah,
There
and
we
if,
go.
and if you do that, you get Google for free.
Right.
Is my point.
There
you
we
know.
go.
If you do the other way around, if you obsess over Google, you get a sort of barely legible keyword stuffed load of gobbledygook, or you end up with 400 pages about let's say if we're doing like pure like old school SEO, we'd have cat grooming Bristol, cat grooming Gloucestershire, cat grooming Portishead, cat grooming wherever we are now, Winscombe. We'd have cat grooming.
The Woodborough Inn at Winston, 6:30 p.m. last Thursday of every month.
yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah, and we'd have 400 pages about all these different things because they're all keywords, but that's not particularly user friendly. That's sort of So yeah, that's it's a good choice.
So this beautifully ties into the. Hang on, which button am I pressing here? That's a slideshow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. So this ties in beautifully with the blog that you wrote for us. So every single month we release, as Riverlax Media, our own newsletter, and that always includes a guest columnist who we try to make be also our guest here at Van. So that is coming out either Monday or Tuesday next week. I'm not too sure at the moment, but keep an eye out for that. And Daniel's full blog will be a part of that. And I'll just put a quick summary of what you were talking about, which, as I understood, is utilising your website not just as an advert, but as a way of really building that connection that you might have with collaborators, potential clients, people like that. So let me know if this is a good summary here. Using your website's real value to nurture your connections, to reassure and support people you've already met, by keeping it clear, human, and consistent with how you present yourself in person.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair summary of the argument I'm making.
Just for a couple of minutes, just dive in a little bit more into that, about how that works, why that works.
So, like I was saying with the sort of SEO idea, your website isn't just a salesman bringing in cold leads, especially like if you're a small business. It actually comes into play further along or further down the marketing funnel, to keep using these kinds of American terms. Sorry, right? So it's important to think of it, I think, in terms of people have already met me, they're checking me out after the fact, in a way.
Yeah.
And that it is consistent with the way you present yourself and the things you've said. If you have, which is partly why, when they say like a website has like a 2.5 year life expectancy, it's not so much because of technical updates. It's more to do with the fact that businesses change direction. So often the website becomes stale and it represents what you were up to 2.5 years ago, and actually the way you're presenting yourself and you're going out to networking events and what have you, you're doing a slightly different service, so it's not the same sort of thing.
Almost like a business dating profile, effectively.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to keep that picture of you from 3 or 4 years ago up there necessarily.
Yeah.
You need to have it a little bit more up to date, otherwise it's a bit disingenuous and probably not representative.
People find it jarring. Yeah. Or they sometimes it can be so bad people just think they've landed on the wrong person's site.
At best, they'll be a little bit confused. At worst, they'll think they're just entirely in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense. Cool. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, that's really demystified a lot of things, just to use that word once again. You explained a lot of things about the SEO and how to utilize the websites and everything like that. So, yes, please, if you're not signed up to the Riverlax newsletter, do sign up to that so that you can check out his blog when it comes out. But also, as our guest, you're the only person who's allowed to pitch at these events. So you're allowed one 60-second pitch.
Okay.
Remember to say who you are, what you do, what you're advertising.
Okay.
And the call to action. What
Righto.
did you just do?
You all right?
I'm good.
You just smacked your funny bone on the table. Yeah, capture that. There we go. Okay, well, if you can get through this without Ryan killing himself.
Yeah.
Yes, so if you'd like to do that.
Okay. I am Dan Warren. My company's Free Range Web. We make websites with a focus on utility and on utility rather than snaz, I would say. I am also at the moment running some courses. I'm going to start next year in January, on the 23rd of January. It'll be at my house, round that table, 5 people up to, basically holding your hand through building a website yourself. If you want to set up a WordPress site, don't really know where to begin, what plugins to use, what themes to use, and just need some direction on that, some sort of hand holding. And if it goes well, I'm going to make it a quarterly thing with up to 5 people. So yeah. And you guys have very kindly put the QR code to go and check that out on Eventbrite if you're interested.
There we go. And
Sorry?
yeah, that's you as an otter. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very good.
There we go. Marvelous.
That's my fursona, I think they call it.
Fursona. Okay, and we're going to end with
Only
one
our
final.
generation got that.
It's fantastic. Isn't it? Yeah, there we go. We'll explain that to you guys another time. Okay, so and the very last thing before we move on to the Q&A section is please provide one quick, short, actionable tip that everybody here can take away and they can do tonight in order to supercharge their business, their branding, their marketing, anything like that. One tip.
I don't know about supercharge all of those things with one tip, but I can. Nice little tests you can do on your site. Hold down Control and zoom in to 200% and see if it's still legible. That's quite a good little test for does this work on any screen?
Interesting.
Just hold down, zoom in 200%. It doesn't have to be super pretty because it's obviously not designed for that. But can I still use the bloody thing? And that's an accessibility check as well in the WCAG. But it's quite good just for testing different screens. That's a little tip anyway. I've got sort of. I don't know if it'll
I've never
change your
thought
life.
that makes a really good point, to be honest, because there have been a couple of websites that me and Ryan have gone on to, and I'm like, oh, this website's great. He was like, no, it's crap. And I was like, what do you mean it's crap? Look at it. And he was like, oh, it doesn't look like that on my computer.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a really good bit of information there. And going back to the whole it being your business dating profile sort of thing, if it appears terrible on somebody's computer, they're not going to want to they don't want to invest the time and find out more, are they?
Yeah, or worse, they just can't use it at all.
And they just can't use it. Yeah, there we go. Daniel Warren, everybody, thank you very much. So we've now moved on to the question and answer portion of the evening. We have got the beautiful Ryan over there, who managed to get all the way over there without hurting himself. Well done. So if you have a question that you would like to ask, you could just put your hand up. If you're feeling a little bit shy though, maybe you don't want to be known that you're asking the question for whatever reason, if you scan that QR code there, you can anonymously submit a question as well.
Tim, do you have a question?
I have a question. But I'm not switched on, so hopefully everybody can hear me.
Oh, hold on, we're
Okay.
just putting that one up.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There we go.
No, nobody wants me to sing. Trust me. Yeah, very. Hello, Dan. You're with us. Yeah, very refreshing to sort of get somebody from a website background, sort of thinking the same way I think about the whole. Well, I knew that anyway, but the whole SEO thing. There are so many companies who sort of just keep the smoke and mirrors about SEO so close to them that they don't get the fact that it's not really a thing you should be charging £500,000 a month for. Google's content guidelines say it: experience, authority, trust. It says written by humans for humans.
Yep.
You know, as you say, you do that, you get Google for free.
Yeah, it's putting the cart before the horse to obsess over the SEO thing.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, just be yourself, be authentic.
There's a lot of pressure coming the other way, though, as well. Like, the number of people are like, no, you will do an SEO package for me. You obviously know about it. I will pay you for, but yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I talked to a potential client last week, and she was sort of, "Will your writing be SEO friendly?" It'll be friendly.
Yeah.
But
That's the priority. Yeah.
But honestly, you don't want to talk to a computer.
Yeah.
You want to talk to the people who want to buy your service.
Yeah,
And that's the single most important thing.
And Google is a lot smarter. Again, as we know, because of AI, like it's got this machine learning behind it. Is a lot smarter than just, are they using 3.1% keyword density in this article? Well, that's irrelevant then. It's not going by that. It can tell if it's good or not and what it's about. So just make it good and make it clear and make it about, make it friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that means that really good website people, like your good self, can make it work for somebody. It's make it engaging and make it work. I'll shut up now.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
Dan, really good, really interesting, thank you. Out of all the websites that you've designed, which is the one that you had the most fun designing? Which is the one that you're most proud of?
Most proud of?
Or the one that you enjoyed the most?
Ooh, I actually quite liked. I haven't checked these. Can we have a look on owenfender.com? I think he's called.
Yeah, give me a moment. I've got to
He's
rearrange myself here.
it's a fairly recent one. It was enjoyable in that it was a massive pain in the neck to do, and quite a satisfying sort of puzzle. So it's a strange sort of sideways scrolling design that he wanted to have, which is sideways scrolling. You're kind of breaking the browser. You're saying, that thing you normally do with the mouse wheel, stop. Do this instead. And the browser says, no. And you go, yes, you will. I've written all this JavaScript. You bloody will. So it's, it was fun. owenfender.studio. Sort of sideways scrolling. Lovely bloke. Very, very particular design in mind. You can see sort of sideways scrolly thing. How do I click on one of those?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is weird.
It is weird. I didn't design it. Realizing it was a challenge, but it was quite a fun one. That's to answer your question. It was an odd. Yeah. Yeah. The other sort of complexity with that was setting it up in a way that he could edit it, right? Because you can do that just in hard-coded HTML, but he's not going to be able to add more projects to it and flesh them out in a way that stays in this design. So that was
very good. Any other questions? Anyone else?
Yeah. So you mentioned about a lot of the SEO is all like smoke and mirrors. So how do these companies justify their amount, and how do they demonstrate success with, KPIs that they make up? How do they do that?
I don't think they do entirely. I don't think you can, actually, because even if you approach that with full sincerity, right? If I give you £500 a month and you set out and go, okay, I'm gonna write you blogs, I'm gonna do this research. If you haven't explained how all of that works, and you aren't sort of going through each bit of that, you can't really make that accountable. And you don't work for Google. So in the same way that the contractor saying I'm a property value improvement specialist can't guarantee results, no SEO companies will guarantee results unless they're just lying. They're just lying if they say they can.
They find clients that don't have
Yeah.
KPIs or critical success factors.
Or what they do is they see that you're doing other marketing things. This is being cynical, but they see that you are doing a broader marketing effort. You're not just obsessing over SEO. And then they go, yeah, give us some money every month and we'll do your SEO. And then they go, oh, look, you're doing better in the search results. This actually would have happened anyway because of all of because of everything else you've been doing. I think there's an element of that going on as well. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm not saying all SEO companies are like that, but it is a very, very difficult, if not impossible, thing to be accountable in that way. And if you're at the point where you're actually going through all of those decisions with the client and saying, okay, we'll do this many blogs, we'll do da-da-da, why sell it as SEO at that point? Why not just do it as we'll do blogs for your customers to read? So why have it as a black box?
Dan, you mentioned just now when you were saying about, you could have it here in Winscombe or Portishead or Bristol. Where would the value of that be?
How do you mean, sorry?
Well, when you were saying just now about the SEO, you can do it. Most people, you just get it for free with Google. But there are companies out there who say, oh, well, we can sell into these different areas for you. Do you want to be in Bristol? Do you want to be in Portishead? Do you want to be in Winscombe?
Because those are search terms. You can see, oh, people are searching such and such Bristol. If you've got a Google business listing, if you've got information on your website about where you are, Google can tell where you are, It knows that you're in Bristol. It knows where you are.
Is there ever a reason you would want to do that?
I think it's that localization SEO you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think localization is only worth doing if you are actually there in some meaningful way. And it's not just, oh, I've set up a virtual office in all of these places.
Good enough, it can work out whether you're not there.
Yeah.
And the AI.
Yeah. You're just spreading your effort really thin. Because if you do want to convince Google that you do actually have an office in Birmingham and you're providing your services there in the same capacity that you are here, you have to do a lot more than just have a page for VA services Birmingham.
Yeah.
You now have to have an office, a phone number, backlinks from that area. Activity on local Facebook groups in Birmingham, like posset pages here or what have you. It's an awful lot of faff to go through for when you can just focus on what you really are.
I think we've got time for one more question. Ben?
So, Dan, have you ever had a client who's asks for stupid stuff that's just not going to work? And how do you handle that? Have you ever turned away a client, just said, no, these ideas are ridiculous. I'm not going to build you a pink, yellow, green, red and white and black website with dancing unicorns in the background and...
I
can tell you right now, because I'm nice and close to it, I can see a single tear going down his eye.
Yes, and that's all I can say about them. No, they're not in the room. They're not in the room. But this is being recorded, so they might.
Just so we can just bleep it out. It's fine.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. The problem is often if they don't have a clear idea of their branding. Because I'm not like you. I'm not a graphic designer first. I'm a developer first. And if they're sort of making their branding up on the spot at the stage where they come to me and they go, oh, actually, I like this green, or I like this, that's when I have to sort of say, no, go and talk to Ben, or go and talk to someone else and get your branding sorted out, and then I will turn it into something from there. Because, that can be where the problem is, really. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody who asked a question. We didn't have any come through on there. Just make sure nobody did actually. Well, you can tell me later if you tried to put it through on there. But just making sure because it's a system that I've not used very much before. But thank you everybody who has asked a question, and of course, thank you very much, Daniel Warren, Free Range Web.
Hope it wasn't too ranty.